Hi beautiful souls, welcome back to yet another episode. Today we are going to highlight the Book of Enoch. Who is Enoch, and why the Book of Enoch was banned? Sit back and relax as we dig deep into this Book of Enoch.
Who is Enoch? Enoch is a biblical figure and patriarch prior to Noah's flood, and the son of Jared and the father of Methuselah. He was of antediluvian period in the Hebrew Bible. The text of the book of Genesis says Enoch lived 365 years before he ascended to heaven. Enoch's faith enabled him to please and walk with God. Enoch wanted others to know God, and miss the coming judgment. It is said that God loved Enoch, thus, instead of dying, he was taken by God to avoid death. He is among the only two people who never tested death, he and Elijah. Enoch was a teacher whose name can be translated as the initiator. The Old Testament does not speak of his book but mentions him in Genesis chapter 5 verses 21 to 24. Here, it indicates how old he was, in confirming his existence and describing his life in the laconic phrase that has given rise to countless interpretation. The Book of Enoch is an ancient Hebrew apocalyptic religious text, ascribed by tradition to Enoch, the great-grandfather of Noah. The Book of Enoch contains unique material on the origin of demon and Nephilim, why some angels fell from heaven, an explanation of why the Genesis flood was morally necessary, and prophetic exposition of the 1,000 years reign of the Messiah. These books are traditionally attributed to Enoch, including the distinct works, 2nd Enoch and 3rd Enoch. The older section of 1st Enoch, mainly in the Book of the Watchers, the texts are estimated to be dated from 300 to 200 BC, and the latest part, which is the Book of Parable, is estimated probably to 100 BC. While the Ethiopian and Eritrea Tewahedo Orthodox Church consider the Book of Enoch as canonical, other Christian groups regard it as non-canonical, but may accept it as having some historical or theological interest. The Book of Enoch, which begins with warning to all mankind, and the fallen angels who have made earth home of deceit, bloodshed and sorcery, was removed from the Jewish and Christian biblical canons, in the 1st century of the new calendar. It reveals secrets which the churches didn't want to talk about. According to the ancient, Enoch was the guardian of all the treasures of heaven, the chief of archangels, and immediately minister of the throne of God. The Book of Enoch chapter 10 to 12 speaks of the watchers, heavenly angels who came down to earth and sinned, because they began to multiply with earthly women and had children with them, revealing to them heavenly secrets for which the human race were not yet ready for. The prohibition of the book was most likely also influenced by the fact that it contained prophecies about Christ himself. Enoch is also credited as the creator of writing and astrology. In the Book of Enoch chapter 33 verse 3 to 4, it states that Enoch mapped the stars in the sky. It reads, "And I saw how the star of heaven come out, and counted the gate out of which they come, and wrote down all their position, their time, and their months, as Archangel Uriel, who was with me, showed me. And he showed me everything and wrote it down, and also their name he wrote it down for me, and their law and function." Here we can see that Enoch is talking about constellation. There are fathers such as Clement of Alexandria, Orion, Tertullian, Justin Martyr, Athenagoras of Athens, Cassian, Irenaeus, and Lactantius who wrote and spoke about Enoch with great respect. Their writing contained many references to the Book of Enoch, and some cases explicitly advocated the use of the book itself as scripture. The Book of Watchers marks the beginning of the manuscript. This part of the book describes the fall of the Watchers, who fathered the Nephilim. It was written around 300 BC. Genesis chapter 6 verse 1 to 4 gives the accounts of Enoch's travels to the heavens. The book starts with the introduction. It say, Enoch is a righteous man whose eyes were opened by God, so that he saw the visions sent to him by God, and from them he hear everything and knows that what he sees and what he saw will not happen to this generation, but to a generation that is yet to come. The book continued talking about God coming to earth on Mount Sinai with his armies to pronounce judgment on humanity. Jude 1 verses 14 says, "See Enoch, the seventh from Adam prophesied about them, See, the Lord is coming with thousand upon thousand of the holy ones. It talks about how all things are predestined by God, and happen in His own time. The sinners will perish and the great and the good will continue to live in love, light, joy, and peace. This first part of the book continue to describe the interaction of the fallen angels, the idea of the origin of the evil caused by the fallen angels. These fallen angels are considered ultimately responsible for the spread of evil and impunity on the earth. Samyaza, also Shemhazai, or Auza, was the leader of these fallen angels, the Watchers. He forced the 199 fallen angels to take earthly women as wives, to bear children with them. Samyaza told them that he alone will pay for this great sin. And the 199 fallen angels agreed and said, "Let us all swear and all bind ourselves by mutual oaths not to abandon to this plan." Then all together swore and bound themselves by mutual curses upon him. And they were 200 in all, including Samyaza their leader, who went down in the days of Jared to the top of Mount Hermon, and called that mountain Mount Hermon, because they had sworn and bound themselves by mutual oaths upon it. These 200 watchers became consumed with lust for mortal women, and entered into machinations against heaven in order to consummate their desires. And this led to the creation of the Nephilim, or the giants, whose heights were estimated to be 300 feet as described in the book. They destroyed all the gain of men. There was real hell on earth. It's also notably that Azazel taught men to make swords, knives, shields, and other weapons. He made them acquainted with the metals of the earth, and with the art of forging metal with the use of antimony. Much wickedness arose, and they committed fornication, and went astray, and became corrupt in their way. The Quran refer Nephilim as the people of Ad, in Quran 89 verses 6 to 14, whom the prophet Hud declares to be like Jabbereen, probably a reference to the biblical Nephilim. The people of Ad are said to be giants according to the Quran. But Islamic legend believed that the people of Ad were not completely wiped out by the flood, since they were so tall they couldn't drown. Instead, God destroyed them after they rejected further warning. The Quran further states that, after death, they were banished into the lower layers of hell. It is believed that Samyaza taught men enchantment and eradication. He taught Barakijal astrology, Kokabel, the constellations, Ezekiel, the knowledge of clouds, Arakiel, the signs of the earth, Shamsil, the signs of the sun, and Sariel, the course of the moon. It's later said that Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Uriel, and Archangel Raphael appealed to the God to judge the inhabitants of the world, and the fallen angels. God will later send Archangel Uriel to tell Noah about the coming calamity, and what he must do for preparation. Enoch chapter 10 verses 1 to 3. God further commanded Archangel Raphael to imprison Azazel, gives Archangel Gabriel instructions regarding the Nephilim. He also told Archangel Gabriel to destroy the children of fornication and the children of the Watchers. Among the men, God sent confusion among themselves in a battle so that they destroy each other. God also commanded Archangel Michael, "Go bind Samyaza and his associates, who have united themselves with women as to have defiled themselves with them in their uncleanliness." The Book of Watchers is then followed by chapter 37 verses 71, which is the second section called the Book of Parables in the Book of Enoch. The Book of Parables appears to be based on the Book of Watchers, but represent a later development of the idea of final judgment and eschatology concerned not only with the fate of the fallen angels, but also with the wicked kings of the earth. The Book of Parables uses the expression Son of Man as the eschatology protagonist, a hero who is called Righteous One, Chosen One, or Messiah, and illustrating him as the one sitting on the throne of glory in the final judgment. The first known use of the Son of Man as a definite title in Jewish writing is in 1 Enoch, and its use may have played a role in the early Christian understanding and use of the title. 4 fragment editions of the astronomical book were found at Qumran, West Bank, and they are dated to the beginning of the 2nd century BC. They also include material not contained in the later versions of the Book of Enoch. This book contained descriptions of the movement of the heavenly bodies, as well as knowledge revealed to Enoch in his trip to heaven guided by Archangel Uriel. The book describes the solar calendar, which was later also described in the Book of Jubilee, which was used by the Dead Sea sect. The use of this calendar made it impossible to celebrate the festivals simultaneously with the Temple of Jerusalem. This calendar was composed of 364 days, divided into 4 equal seasons of 91 days each. Each season consisted of 3 equal months of 30 days each, plus 1 extra day at the end of the 3rd month. The whole year was thus composed of exactly 50 weeks. Each year and each season always began on Wednesday, which was the 4th day of creation narrated in the book of Genesis, the day when the light in the sky, the season, and day and the years were created. It is not known exactly how they used to reconcile this calendar with the tropical year 365.24 days. The book of parables is then followed by the book of the dream vision. This book contains a vision of history of Israel all the way down to what the majority have interpreted as the Maccabean revolt. It is dated to the Maccabean period, dating around 163 to 142 BC. According to the Ethiopian Tewahedo Orthodox Church, it was written before Genesis flood. The book continues with the visions and allegorical accounts of Israel's history, in which animals are used as symbols of human beings, and people as symbols of angels. There are many links between the first book and this one, including the outline of the story of the imprisonment of the kings and destruction of the Nephilim. Still another interpretation, which has credibility, is that the last section of this book refers to the infamous Battle of Armageddon, where all nations of the world will match against Israel. This interpretation is supported by the War Scroll, which described that this epic battle might be like the one existed in Qumran. The 4th book in the Book of Enoch is the Message of Enoch. This section of the book date between 170 and 1st BC. It is made up of 5 sections. 1. Apocalypse of the week. 2. Exhortation. 3. Message. 4. Birth of Noah. And 5. Conclusion. This second appendix was not found in Qumran, and is considered to be the work of the final redactor. It highlights the generation of the light, in opposition to the sinners doomed to the darkness. All the fallen angels who came down from heaven have names. But only 2 are mentioned, Azazel and Samyaza. They all taught sorcery on earth, causing corruption among men. As you can see, the book contains so much information, from the beginning of our creation, to the coming of the great day of judgment, where all human will face judgment according to their deeds. From the book, we can tell that it was banned because it openly talks about strange occurrence, and creatures with advanced technology, that visited our earth. These creatures are the fallen angels who corrupted humans. They shared their advanced technology with their hybrid offsprings, the Nephilim, who then transferred that knowledge to humans, which was detrimental to humanity at that period. The book describes very clearly how and why all the traces of this fallen angels and their offsprings, the Nephilim, were wiped out by the Great Flood. Many will argue from this book that this is not enough evidence of extraterrestrial beings visiting the earth, but many mystic believes that they are the one who helped human to build pyramids using their advanced technology. With no doubt, they believe that these were extraterrestrial beings that came down here and shared their advanced technology with humans. Well, let us hear your views on the comments below. Peace, love, and light, and stay blessed.